This video will provide an overview of cleaning drains with an electric drain snake. I'll demonstrate using a Harbor Freight one, and I'll also talk about the one you rent at Home Depot. Using a drain snake is both hard work and potentially dangerous, as well as being dirty. Safety first. Wear safety glasses. Never wear rubber gloves because they'll catch in the spring and that can break your arm. Get a helper to help you put the machine in place. It's very, very heavy and hard on the back. You can stop by Home Depot even without renting the machine to get a copy of the directions and just read them over. For an additional $10, you can rent the drain snake with the power feeder. The main advantages are that it can do a better job on the pipe, since with the manual one you need to feed the snake and then spin. It's impossible really to ream out the drain the way you can with this one, where the cutter can spin the entire time as you feed it forward and then feed it in reverse to really clean the pipe out. The other advantages are it's a tremendous labor saver, both feeding the snake into the drain and then retracting it afterwards. It's much easier to clean the entire line all the way to the main sewer line and then back again. This hand-cranked drain snake has a lot of advantages over the Harbor Freight machine. For one thing, it costs a lot less, $22 to rent for 4 hours, compared to spending $200 on the Harbor Freight machine with a coupon. And there's another advantage. This machine is lighter and more maneuverable than the Harbor Freight one because it doesn't have a motor. And neither machine is designed to clean a main sewer line. Although it can be used for that purpose, both machines have a spring that is not stiff enough to stuff down the drain. What it tends to do is bind, especially when it runs into an obstruction. Two important lessons I learned the first time I rented the machine. One, I couldn't get it through the access door, so I had about 6 feet of spring sticking out. When I grabbed the spring, the second problem was I was wearing rubber gloves. My hand caught in the spring. I yelled to my assistant to bring the machine to a stop with his hands, which he did, but I actually hurt my wrist a little bit. Had it spun any further, I would have broken my wrist. The solution. 1. Read all the instructions first. 2. Never wear rubber gloves, only the heavy-duty leather ones they give you when you rent the machine. And 3. If you can't get within 3 feet of the drain, then you must run the snake through some temporary pipe. Make sure the person feeding the drain snake is the only one to operate the foot pedal, not the assistant. They can accidentally start the thing at the wrong time or fail to stop. In cramped or confined spaces, I just work the foot pedal with my hand. You want the drain snake to be as close to the drain as possible. 2 to 3 feet should be the maximum distance. If you do more than that, the snake is going to come out and it's going to wind up and go all over the place and you can get hurt. I was told at Home Depot if you break or damage the spring, they'll charge you $260, and it is not covered by the insurance. The insurance only covers normal wear and tear. Before you put the snake in the drain, you're going to have to select what tool to use. For example, if a child put a toy down the toilet, then you might want to try the retrieval tool first to see if you can get it out. While it's possible to remove the toilet to access the drain, it's a lot of work. The drain pipe can also be accessed by the vent pipe on the roof, but that's also a lot of work. In my case, the clog was caused by a baseball that was accidentally put down the vent pipe. It went through the ABS, and then once it hit the cast iron, it stopped. If I had known that, then I would have started with the retrieval tool to pull it back out. Don't overdo it spinning the snake inside the drain. Frequently what happens is it cannot rotate completely, and then it begins to wind up in the drain. The sign of this is when you stop, the drum will actually spin backwards. If you see that happening, stop the machine, run it in reverse, and unload the pressure on that spring to avoid damaging it or getting it stuck in the drain. The more snake you put down the drain, the more likely it's going to be to catch on things as you pull it back up. When that happens, you're going to have to reverse the machine, you may have to push it forward, you're just going to have to work things in order to get it unstuck. A drain snake with a power feeder has the advantage that it can push with force into the obstacle and grind it up. The problem is you can also damage the snake or damage the drain because you can't feel what's going on. Even though you have a power feeder, there's nothing to stop you from pulling the snake a little bit by hand and feeding it in a little bit by hand in order to feel what's going on. Working with the drain snake is an odd mix of brute strength to move heavy stuff into place, to put the snake down the drain, to work skillfully like you're picking a lock, and then to pull it back out of the drain and clean it all up and return it to the store. Retracting the snake can be a real workout, especially if you fed half or more of the spool down the drain. It's much harder pulling it uphill. You're already going to be tired. You're pulling the entire weight of the coil and you're working against gravity. In addition, it will often snag on things as you're trying to pull it out, requiring you to feed it forward, reverse the machine, and play with things to get it unsnagged. Be extra careful when retracting the snake, because sudden movements can cause the drain matter to flick off and end up on your face or your arms. Now you have an idea of what's involved. Remember, some drains are pretty easy and easy to get at, with their cleanouts being located outside. Others are very difficult.